Hi guys, thank you all for coming to class today and coming to see our presentation. So the name of our presentation today is Give Them Hell, our group consists of me, Felicia Faria, Michael Colucci, Miranda Oakley, Corey Casale, Ryan Piazza, Tim Doherty, Darian Strathfield, and Nick Mira. So for our presentation today, the method that we chose to describe is the Toulmin method, and this consists of the claim, the position that we are arguing for, and the conclusion of the argument, data, the reasons as to why we are supporting the evidence going back to our claim, warrant, the principle, provision, or chain of reasoning that connects the ground/reason to the claim, backing, the support, justification, and reasons to back up the warrant, rebuttal, also known as reservation, the exceptions to the claim, description and rebuttal of counter examples and counter arguments, and last but not least, the qualification, which states the specification of limits to the claim, warrant, and backing, and the degree of conditionally asserted. So along with a research method, we also had to create a research question for you guys that we will be finally addressing on our side at the end of the presentation. So here it is. Between the three emperors being discussed today, Nero, Caligula, and Tiberius, who was the worst emperor? So now we're going to quickly go into a little description of each emperor for you guys.
Hey everyone, it's me, Nick. Just wanted to give you some background information on the Emperor Nero, who I'll be covering both in the presentation as well as the little movie that we have towards the end. So Nero was born Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, but took the popular name that we know him as at the age of 13. He became emperor at the age of 17 after his mother, Agrippina the Younger, pulled some strings both in marrying Claudius, whom he was adopted by, the prior emperor, as well as possibly killing or threatening to kill the rightful heir to the throne at the time. Nero was emperor for a pretty good amount of time before he started doing some bad things, and it really wasn't until his mother was killed or poisoned by him that he became the evil emperor that we know him as today, with the Great Fire, the persecution of Christians, increasing taxes to try and finance his villa. Nero wasn't a great guy, but I'm sure that by the end of this you'll think that he was by far the worst emperor of the three that we're covering. Now I'm going to hand it off to Tim. He's going to talk to you about Caligula.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Tim Doherty, and I will be speaking about Emperor Caligula. His reign took place after the reign of his granduncle Tiberius, who was believed to have assassinated Caligula's father, Germanicus. And Germanicus was the reason people were so optimistic about the rule of Caligula, because he was such a popular, prominent, well-known general. And Rome sort of went to hell in a handbag after the rule of Tiberius due to the fact Tiberius didn't exactly rule inside of Rome, so people were happy that they'd have a continental Caesar, someone who would actually rule for the people. He really brought horse racing into Rome again, the way we know it when we think of things like Ben-Hur. So in the first few weeks, people were very excited for the rule of Caligula. But things went downhill, and they started to see his vices that he picked up when he was living on Capri with his uncle. He was obsessed with prostitution and torture. He actually married his sister Drusilla, and when she died, he put Rome into a forced period of mourning, during which it was illegal to basically be happy. You couldn't meet or laugh or hang out with your family, your parents, or your children. And Caligula was also famous for his seemingly random exploits, such as building a bridge to nowhere, making his horse a consul, having his soldiers attack the sea. But what a lot of historians, such as Suetonius and Pliny the Elder, will argue is that Caligula was doing these things that seemed random, but were actually done for the purpose of punishing people who he thought had wronged his dignity, which was very up there because he considered himself a living god. And this is what made him such a depraved emperor. He thought, clearly everything I come up with is just a feature of my divine wisdom, and anyone who disagrees with me is clearly not worthy of life or should be punished in such a way. And when he couldn't kill you, he embarrassed you.
How you doing? I'm Ryan, and I'll be discussing Emperor Tiberius Claudius Nero. He never wanted to be emperor, but he was forced to by his mother. He was also forced to marry Augustus's daughter Julia. which in turn made him have to divorce his beloved wife, Agrippa, who was pregnant with their first child. He was known as an excellent military general. What is believed he also did was assassinate Germanicus in Syria. And then he exiled most of Germanicus' immediate family. Cassio Dio wrote, "He was cruel under the pretext of reforming public morals." While emperor, he exiled himself from responsibility to Capri, where he did numerous things, which is known, though, that he did molest children, one being Caligula, who he then trained to become the next emperor. What happened next, though, was that Caligula assassinated Tiberius.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Weston Parsley, and you're joining us on the afternoon news. If you're just tuning in, we were talking about how my wife needs to start pulling more weight around the house. She's consistently miserable. This just in, I'm single again.
From NBC headquarters at URI, your nightly news with Mr. Weston.
In other news, the ruler of Tartarus, known in Roman mythology for its pits of fire and eternal damnation, has recently stepped down. We now go to field reporter Ashley Conley, who is live in the field. Ashley?
Hi, Weston. It's quite a scene out there.
Ashley, we're having trouble both hearing and seeing you. Can you go somewhere brighter?
Absolutely not. There are like demons out there, and I'm pretty sure Stalin walked by.
This is a big part of your internship, Ashley. Do you want to be a full-time field reporter or not?
All right, all right. Ah!
Ashley? Ashley? Well, that's unfortunate. Somebody please send flowers to her mother. Do we have anybody else? Anderson? Really? He's already there? Oh. Well, why did we send Ashley? It doesn't matter. Now live to Anderson Ashbury in the field.
Thank you, Weston. It was an incredible scene just a few moments ago. There was lights, music, fireworks. You should have seen it. Well, not really much now, I guess.
Anderson, can you tell us a little bit of what will be going on in the next few days down there?
Well, the primaries were actually pretty quick. The race has already been narrowed down to just 3 candidates.
And who is currently in the running?
We have Emperors Nero, Caligula, and Tiberius. All 3 are neck and neck, and it will most likely come down to tomorrow night's debate to decide who will be the next ruler of the Tartars.
That's some exciting stuff, Anderson. How do the locals feel about the elections?
Let's find out. Excuse me, sir. Anderson Ashbury with CBS News. What do you think of the upcoming election? Do you have a favorite candidate?
Hey man, I'm just trying to do my thing. You know, my vote doesn't even really matter anyway. They're all lunatics, man.
Well, you must have somebody over the other.
I like Caligula. His horse is pretty awesome, man.
Well, thank you for your valuable input.
No problem, dude.
Pardon me, sir. Do you mind answering questions about the upcoming election?
Yeah, bro. Anything you want to know, bro.
Lovely. Who do you feel is best fit to rule the flaming pits of the Taurus for the next millennium?
Well, you know, bro, I'm really big on Nero. You know, no BS. That's what I like. That's how I live my life. Gym and no BS, Monday through Friday.
What about your weekends?
You know, those are my ice skating days, man.
I'm so glad we have people like you exercising democracy.
Nah, bro, I just exercise regularly.
Good Christ.
No.
Excuse me, miss. Anderson Ashbury with CBS News. Do you have a few moments to answer some questions about the upcoming election?
Why, certainly. Ask away.
Who do you feel is best fit to run Tatars?
Well, Anderson, it's certainly a close race. I feel that the candidate best fit for the position had to be the absolute worst person that they were when they were alive.
Go on.
I was a big Tiberius fan when he first entered the campaign. I thought he had a strong platform of child molestation and torture. But then Caligula and Nero began to rise in the polls, and quite honestly, Anderson, I'm completely torn between the three now. Nero's I killed anybody because I wanted to platform really hit home. While Caligula's I made all of Rome mourn the death of my sister and basically outlawed happiness campaign is really hooking those swing voters.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome, folks, to today's news broadcast. Now, before we get to airing tonight's big debate, we wanted to take a few moments to sit down with each of the candidates and really get to know them. Our fabulous field interns, Miranda, Felicia, and Darian, have all braved the trip to the bowels of Tartarus to interview their assigned candidates. Roll the clips, please. And nobody told them about Ashley, right? No? Good, good, good.
Emperor Tiberius, I would first like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day for this interview.
My mother isn't here, is she?
Excuse me?
My mother, Livia. I didn't go to her funeral, and Jupiter knows I haven't called her in centuries.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Now please on with the questions. I have things to tend to that shouldn't be mentioned on network television.
Absolutely. My first question has to do with your desire to be the Emperor of Rome. I've heard that you actually didn't want any part of it. Do you care to elaborate?
You sure my mother didn't put you up to this? Because so help me God, Miranda, if she is here and some Jerry Springer stuff is about to go down, I will have you skinned and salted like a snail.
I swear, Emperor Tiberius, your mother isn't here.
Well, I guess I'll take your word. But to answer your question, it was my mother's idea. She, along with Augustus, forced me to marry his harlot daughter, Julia. I had her promptly exiled from the walls of Rome after she cheated on me multiple times.
So, you're saying that Livia pushed you towards the throne?
Did I stutter? I can't say it was all that bad. I just let Sejanus run the capital while I relaxed on my palace in Capri.
So what did you do to occupy your time in Capri?
Well, most of my time was spent... But then occasionally I would prefer to... But oh, after a few rounds of wine, I was really into...
That was informative, to say the least. Best of luck in the election, Emperor Tiberius.
My pleasure.
Right. Hard left, hard left, hard left. Yeah, that was a very informative interview. I'm being told that Emperor Caligula's position in the polls is already... Emperor Tiberius's position in the polls is already on the rise. Now, if we could please just cut to the next.
Emperor Nero, I would like to...
Do you like it? I call it Ode to Nero.
It's beautiful.
It won 7 Roman Grammys, you know. Granted, those who voted against me were immediately executed. But who's keeping track?
I can't imagine why they would vote against you.
Would you like to hear a poem I wrote?
Could it wait until...
Well, who am I kidding? Of course you want to hear a poem from the greatest poet of his time. As they said on my deathbed, what an artist died with me. There once was a man on a hill, and he was like, boop, boop. And then the maiden was like, boop, boop. And the man was like, why did you boop that? And she was like, boop, boop. Thank you. Thank you.
That was lovely. If only it could have been translated into a Valentine's Day card.
Oh, it will be. But please, young lady, on with your questions.
Like your opponent, Tiberius, I see that you were also arranged into marriage by your mother. Do you care to elaborate?
Well, during the little free time that I had, when I wasn't writing masterpieces, I was forced to marry my uncle Claudius's daughter, Octavia. Of course, this was only part of my mother's master plan to make me emperor. But hey, I fooled around when I could, and of course, mother didn't approve, so I had her killed.
You had your own mother.
Numerous attempts at making it look like an accident failed. The roof, the boat. I couldn't even poison her. So one day I just told one of my guards to find her and kill her.
So you ordered your own private guard to kill your mother.
Yup. Hey, do you know anywhere looking for a freelance musician? I do require a decent wage, but you should never go underpaid.
I can call around, but I'm afraid that's all the time I have. Thank you, Emperor Nero.
Emperor Caligula, I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy...
Whoa, girl! Wow, it's all right. She's not going to hurt us. She just wants to ask us a few questions. What? No, I wouldn't do that to her. She's nothing like Uncle Tiberius.
Which leads me into my first question.
What? You think I did it? Well, I'll tell you what. I did, and I'll do it again. That man was out of control.
I guess I'll consider that a valid response, but I'd also like to touch on one of your military campaigns.
Oh, of course. Give me my daily ego boost.
In my research, I came across a peculiar incident where you ordered your own army to wage war on the sea. Do you care to elaborate?
How dare you question my decisions? Guards, kill her!
I would like to remind you that you are under contract, Emperor, in which it clearly states that under no circumstances will you execute your interviewer.
I'll get you, my pretty.
May I ask about your horse?
You mean my dear Incatatus? Of course. He would be honored.
In your later years as Emperor, you named Incantatus as your consul. There have been lots of talk about what drove you to such a decision. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Guards, oh, wait. Damn contract.
Is your only response to ridicule to just execute someone?
It's a simple answer to your question, Darian. The Senate at the time were as dim-witted as Gauls. I simply proved that a horse could do their job.
You seem to have little faith in the Senate.
Rome was my playground, and the Senate was the jungle gym that I stood atop of.
So what you're saying is that you're a child at heart and treated Rome like your lifelong recess.
Go! Oh, damn contract!
Come on! Oh, God. Welcome back to... Yeah, I don't even care anymore. Just do whatever's next, and for God's sakes, somebody get me another, or you're all fired.
Thank you, Weston. It's a full house here in Tartarus. The candidates are inches from each other's throats. This is gearing up to be a wild debate. Candidates, are you ready?
Yeah, wait, hold on. Yeah, I'm good. What? Nothing.
Why must you? Boop boop. When love is the clear path.
How dare you question my readiness!
Emperor Nero, I'd like to ask you about the great fire that burned 75% of Rome. There are those who claim you started the fire. Do you care to address those who accuse you?
Where else was he gonna put that ridiculous palace?
Says the guy with his own private island. At least my burning of the city helped with the population problem.
So you're saying you did do it. Rumor has it that you were nowhere near the city at the time of the fire.
It takes time for fire to spread, Anderson. I'm a very fast runner. You should see my trophy case.
You are aware that they let you win all those medals, right? You couldn't outrun a one-legged pig.
Yet neither could that inbred horse of yours.
How dare you! If you weren't already dead, I'd slowly kill you in your sleep!
Oh, that sounded all too familiar.
I'd do it again, Uncle Dearest, but this time, instead of simply removing your finger, I'd remove your entire hand!
Gentlemen, please, can we stay on track? Emperor Tiberius, Cassius Dio writes about you. He did things just to watch people suffer. Would you care to elaborate?
I would let the shrill notes of human suffering play as I slept that night.
The shrill notes in the same key as Nero's guitar playing?
I'll have you know that I create my own keys. And Anderson, if anybody is emperor of human suffering, it's me. I casually crucified Christians just to light the streets of Rome after sunset.
Have you ever raped a married couple on their wedding day?
Whoa!
I certainly have.
Hold up! This is on live television. We don't want to offend.
Offend?
Do I look like the kind of man who's afraid to offend?
You look more like the kind of man who's afraid of commitment.
I'll have you know that I once ordered the Roman workforce to begin construction on a bridge that led absolutely nowhere. You want to keep talking about commitment?
That is the single dumbest thing I've ever heard. They only built it because you would have had them killed otherwise.
What's wrong with killing? Especially when there's no reason.
Well, nothing, really.
Uncle?
Yeah, killing's fine. In fact, I'm itching to do some killing right now. You guys?
The contract! The contract! Now, pretending that didn't just happen. Emperor Nero, I'd like to ask you about your death. It is said that you had your secretary kill you. For you. Do you care to explain?
That's a great question, Anderson. One that I will answer in song.
Please, Nero, that won't be necessary. A simple worded answer will do.
As out of character as that is for me, I believe that such a talent could never take his own life. It would be an act of pure selfishness. To deny somebody the glory of slaying a man such as myself would be an insult to the gods.
I can literally see your ego glowing around you.
Sure, it shines bright.
All I'm getting from this folly is that I was the only one worthy of an assassination.
You assassinated me!
No, I murdered you. You weren't important enough to have been assassinated.
Important enough? I was Emperor of Rome while you were still in diapers.
Yeah, I bet you like little boys in their diapers.
Well, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
There's everything wrong with that.
I've lost complete control.
You know, Tiberius is basically just a teenage girl.
I beg your pardon?
Anderson, you brought up the man Cassius Dio. Well, I believe that he said something along the lines of, he never let what he desired appear in his conversation. And what he said he wanted, he never really desired at all.
Who is this Dio man and when can I have him killed?
Does that actually mean you'd just like to have a tea party with him?
How can you have this flip-flopper ruling Tartarus?
You think you and your ego would be a better fit? Please, I'm truly the most despicable man to walk the streets of Rome.
You are a man sick in the head. Just a freak with a temper. I did things with a purpose.
Nero, you can't take a hint of criticism, and Caligula, you'll make your stupid horse vice president of Tartarus if given the chance.
And you'll just flee to your own private island and hope that Tartarus just rules itself. I am Caligula.
I should be the emperor.
I
should be the emperor.
And then some other
I don't know what's
Seeing that we are out of time, I would like to thank you for tuning into tonight's debate. Get to the polls tomorrow, and hopefully 24 hours from now, we will have a winner. Thank you.
It's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Who was the worst of the three emperors? Well, the Hateful Eight has claimed that the worst of the three was Nero. Why, you ask? Well, based on our evidence, found in three sources, a History.com article on Nero, an ancient history encyclopedia on Nero that was written by Donald Wasson, and a biography on Nero that was published by A&E television networks, we discovered a lot of things about Nero that helped to prove our claim, including the fact that he killed his own mother, he possibly killed his stepbrother Britannicus in order to become the Emperor of Rome, he spent exorbitant amounts of money on artistic pursuits. The Great Fire is another big one. Lasted 10 days, decimated 75% of the city of Rome, and as a result, he put the blame on Christians and persecuted them. He also devalued currency and reinstituted policies to confiscate property in cases of suspected treason. He raised taxes to finance his villa, the Domus Aurea. And lastly, he killed and exiled people for speaking out against him. A lot of really bad reasons. But of course, where there's a claim, there's going to be a rebuttal. And to speak about the rebuttal, we have Mike to do that for you.
So Nero wasn't necessarily awful. He did in fact do a handful of decent things as emperor. But keep in mind that all the good things he did only came before the death of his mother, because after the death of his mother, the man went completely insane. So he was described as a generous and reasonable leader. In fact, he allowed slaves to bring accusations against their masters when the slaves felt they were being mistreated. He actually lowered taxes and eliminated capital punishment. Granted, Nero would kill whoever he damn well felt like killing whenever he wanted to, but that wasn't until the death of his mother, when he, like I just said, completely lost his mind.
After much deliberation and research, we as a group have come to the conclusion that the worst emperor out of the three was Emperor Nero. Tiberius, while sexually depraved and cruel, didn't actually get that much of a chance to run Rome, seeing as he spent most of his life in exile on Capri. Caligula, while equally, if not more sexually depraved than his uncle, did also get a chance to govern Rome. However, he would do horrible things under the guise of politics. He claimed he had a purpose for everything he did. Nero, however, made less of an argument. If Nero wanted the spotlight to read a poem, he would light a Christian. He did not try to defend what he was doing. He clearly thought he was an artist. And that is why we have decided that Nero was the worst emperor. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Have a nice day, and give him hell.